because exactly at 3 o'clock we will have the inaugural session. So the presentation for this session we have from Dr. Parthasarathi Mukhopadhyay. He is presently working as Associate Professor in Library Information Science under University of Kalyani. The research domain of Dr. Mukhopadhyay includes application of open source software and open standards in designing library services. He has contributed a total of 5 books, 60 research papers, and many courseware developed for IGNOU. He was a member of UNESCO Curricular Development Committee on Open Access for Research Scholars and Library Professionals and developed one exclusive module on open access. He is presently running 2 courses on Swayam platform of MHRD, Government of India. So the topic that Dr. Mukhopadhyay is taking up is Metadata Reuse, a discovery framework for authority recommendations and ILS-DI based OPAC functionalities. I will invite Dr.
So, thank you, madam, and good day to all of you. First of all, a galaxy of technical person from different, well-known digital library initiative from all over the world. And I'm not a technical person. I'm teaching library information science in a university and associated with NDL as a metadata consultant and with NVLI also. So my point of deliberation is the metadata reuse. How can we reuse metadata in the discovery framework? Because most of the digital library interfaces so far, right from the morning we have seen, are basically discovery interfaces. So metadata, as you all know, it's basically very efficient for organization and access to resources, but there are a lot of challenges related to quality and standardization. But increasingly, we viewed metadata in the context of a digital library initiative as a capital, metadata capital. And like any capital investment, the value of this capital comes through the reuse. Recently, one survey or a study conducted by the open access data repository, you all know, Dryad. So they have seen within a 3-year of phase, some of the metadata they are using have this kind of reuse. Say, for example, dc.contributor.author, like primarily dc.creator area and dc.subject. So if that amount of reuse is happening at the time of metadata encoding, so there is a chance that we can pre-populate that system so that metadata can be easily available during the period of encoding. But here is the problem. The real problem is that someone actually tweeted that metadata is like a toothbrush. Everybody, wants to have one, but nobody is willing to use others. So whenever a particular project starts, like NDL or other things, in the library world also, say for example, we started cataloging a form of metadata encoding right from the BM code 1841. We actually started Mark 21 based metadata encoding 65. Then it took 35 years by the professionals to realize that proliferation of standards is not the solution. We have to have a single global de facto standard instead of many standards. But the same mistake is basically nowadays happening in the digital library domain. You name it, we have it. You name it any domain, we have a n number of candidate metadata schema. But fortunately, there is a silver line in the cloud that most of these domain-specific metadata schemas are using minimum 15 descriptive element of Dublin code, so interoperability is possible. Although we are losing, during the data transformation, we are losing chunk of data, valuable data, whenever we are transferring data from domain-specific to a generic like Dublin code. But the list is going on. But the real serious problem lies here. Metadata schema proliferation. But when we come to the interoperability standards also, let me show you that CORE, Confederation of Open Access Repositories, once proposed that interoperability level standards can be divided into 7 layers. And in each and every layer, there are many candidate standards. we are fortunate enough, at the harvesting level, metadata harvesting level, we have one global de facto standard. But you see here, repository network, usage statistics, we have number of candidate standards. Let me give you one example. In case of author identification, the ORCID is most popular amongst faculty members and researcher. But in real sense, in that particular author identification system, there are 10 different identification systems using by many people. So VIAP is very popular in the library domain. Similarly, physics people are using Archive ID. Most of the other public contributors are using Scopus ID. So finally, how can we relate these different standards even in a single domain like author identification? So there lies a challenge. If we come to the area of NDL, so NDL is basically in the first phase. It is using a hybrid metadata schema which is actually based on qualified DC, LRMI, and Sodh-Ganga for thesis. Presently, it is including only educational resources. Ingesting process they are doing either through metadata annotation, that means manual submission, metadata extraction through crawling, or metadata harvesting. But my point is that if NDL is willing to enter into the next phase, that is the second phase, they need to expand the resource base. The moment they are willing to expand the resource base, they need many more domain-specific metadata schemas here and many more processes here. So metadata harvesting is not alone going to serve you well in the second phase. Let me give you one example why I am saying this. Trove, right from the day one in NDL, we modeled on Trove. Lot many things discussed about Trove. Brendan is there. I already talked to him. So in case of Trove, you see the largest chunk of information is not only digitized material, but actually coming from the libraries Australia in the form of books and other resources. If you go to another discovery interface like finna.fi, they are using different other resources like libraries, museum, archive. They basically call it LAMP group, libraries, archive, museum, and preservation institutes. So in the future also, NDL needs to include many more this kind of resource bases. Now the moment they are going to include libraries, as a library professionals, I can say that there will be two challenges. Immediately there will be two challenges. First one is, these are challenges and these are opportunities also. First one is that for the first time in NDL, you are going to have standardized metadata system, not only Mark 21 bibliographic format, but by Mark 21 authority format also. How to reuse that in discovery interface. So that is the first challenge. Second challenge is that most of the discovery system I can show you, they are lacking minimum OPAC functionalities. In a library OPAC, if you go, you search a book, you reserve that book, you hold that book, you issue that book. If self-renewal is available, lot many things you can do from the OPAC interface, but not from the discovery interfaces. I'll show you. So first thing first, I'm coming to authority data. As introducing authority data to library professional is something like you are introducing ice to Eskimos or sand to Bedouins. But those who are not from the library domain, for them, authority data is nothing but a set of a mechanism through which you can redirect user from a non-preferred heading to a preferred heading, or from different name variants to the name actually used by the library for the indexing. So I'm trying to give you one example. Say before metadata, before implementation of the authority like this, Earth, planet, etc. When you are introducing authority data service, everything will be under the Earth, planet. Suppose that is the preferred heading, and lot many synonymous terms or related will be connected to that heading through C reference or C also references. So same thing is happening with the different variants of author names. We are reformatting, updating, and consolidating. Same thing is happening for the uniform titles also. So in the case of uniform title like sacred scripture, Bible, Quran, Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, we are using a uniform title authority data file. So that is also missing in the case of discovery interfaces. So there are many other differences like pseudonym connectivity. Uniform title is very important for the cultural resources. Now, in the library world, how we are doing it? We are not regenerating authority data. We are reusing authority data. Here I am giving one example in a university level library where I am working. So we are using FAST, faceted application of subject terminology in Koha, open source ILS. Friends are from New Zealand also. Koha is from New Zealand. So here you see when I am entering or encoding my metadata in the subject authority, this is the general subdivision. If I click this particular thesaurus, it will pop up the pre-populated first authority here. If I search by digital map here, suppose I am encoding a resource on digital map, it will guide me that the exact term is digital maps, not digital map. And this is used for digitized map, electronic map, and there is a C also reference called map. The moment I click choose here, so it will encode that data into my system. So at the cataloging level, at the metadata encoding level, we can very easily using different kind of name authority, subject authority, geographic name authority, event authority from easily available authority data service called FAST. So as Professor Das rightly pointed out in the morning session, whether metadata is licensed object or not, you see most of these metadata are available ODC BUI format. So these are licensed metadata schema. Related to the domain of authority control. But unfortunately, in the library system, when we come to the user interface, we are always providing two different interfaces. One is for keyword searching or field level searching, another for authority search. So in the library domain, we are basically expecting that a user first will do the authority search. From there, they will pick up the right kind of name and the right kind of term. Then they will come to our search interface and will search. Too much to expect. Too much to expect from a generation who are actually growing with the Google. They want a Google-like simple, but OPAC-like elegant interface. It should not be this complex. And you don't think that we are alone doing this kind of complex things in Koha or in any other Indian libraries. You go to the biggest or the largest library in the world, Library of Congress. They are providing two separate interfaces. One is for their keyword search, another is for the authority search. And they finally integrate these two through browsing. I don't understand why are people, irrespective of searching the cataloging or resources, they will browse the resource. So when you are browsing, it will giving lot of C and C also references, less than ideal solution. But again, I'm sorry, my throat is not supporting me. So again, nowadays, lot of digital library systems are also using authority data. Say for example, this is example I'm showing from Omeka. DSpace is also compatible. They are using library data actually. They are not regenerating or reinventing the wheel. So here you see, most of, in case of Omeka, I can have a plugin, I can integrate this authority list and authority data with a target Dublin code field, and when I am going to encode this one, say dc.language, it will pop up automatically. These are also available as LOD, so that you can directly link your system with that, with the data set. But here also, you see, we are not providing that particular advantage to the end user level. Say, I was talking with Brandon related to this. Say, for example, here, if I am searching trope, advanced search level, creator, William Sidney Porter, it is not actually redirecting me that use the author name O. Henry, which is basically the pseudonym and the most popular name of that author. So here when I am searching by Porter, it retrieves only 238 result. But when I am searching creator is equal to O. Henry, it is retrieving 1800 plus records. And there is no link between the O. Henry and Porter, although an ideal system should redirect me that you use this name of the author. Same is the thing with the wildcat also. The same search I have done, and you see the result 254, and here 40,000. And there are no C reference or C also references. If you come to the subject authority again, if I search subject by death penalty, so it reports only 30 result, but if I search by capital punishment, it reports around 3,000 result. Why this is happening? Because if this is remember, this is from the book domain. In the book domain, most of the data into Trove is coming from the Libraries Australia. They are using a form of standard authority list, mostly LCSH. So they always enter book related on this issue under the capital punishment and give a C reference, the death penalty, C capital punishment. But that is not reflecting, or that is not acting as a recommender system in the end user interface. We need a simple recommender system like this. I am searching Amazon, the name of the author and the title, it is giving me the customer who brought this also brought this. I'm not trying to reflect that one in the interface, but by following that model, if I search by death penalty as a subject, it should say me there is no documents or a very few documents on death penalty, you better search by capital punishment. If I click then capital punishment, it will retrieve the result with the subject capital punishment. And how it is happening? It's not magic. This system is basically using FAST as an authority dataset. If I search separately their authority dataset, here you see, the moment I say death penalty, it retrieves capital punishment and says the use for death penalty, death sentences, etc. So rightly it is actually guiding you from a non-preferred heading to a preferred heading. And in a keyword search-based discovery system, this is very essential. Same is the case with the name authority or geographic name authority. How we are doing it, the mechanism, we actually populated the FAST, personal name authority, corporate name authority, etc. It's a 2 million records. You see, we index here almost 2 million records, different kind of authority. This dataset is available by ODC BUI license. We have a biblio index, we have an authority index. Separately, Solar is maintaining one authority index, one biblio index. We are using authority recommenders in the search interface on the basis of these three modules: authority module, authority display logic, and authority reference control. How you are controlling the reference? Here I am giving my control, reference control. If a person search by author, then you use authority recommended here. Record type is personal name and source is ILS fast. So it is actually picking that particular authority index here, and when a person or user searching either subject or title or author, they are basically getting that recommendation system. So that is one thing. I have 5 more minutes. So another lacuna in the discovery interface I am trying to show you. Just I am skipping some of the slide. In India, the largest union catalog we are having is INTCAT, prototype in the line of WorldCat. UGC has basically developed it, but here you see it nicely located that which book is available in which university, but the moment I click the details of a book, it only says that it is available in this particular library. Whether the copy presently available for borrowing, I don't know simply. So in a union catalog, we are not doing the things what we can easily do in OPAC. Another big union catalog in India is CSIR Knowledge Gate. They are using all along for all 42 libraries, they are using Koha. Now they are using open harvesting system. The moment I search something, it can display these are the books on web available. But the moment I want to know the real-time availability of this book, I need to click and I need to go to the respective OPAC. So it is not actually integrating the library resources in the discovery interface. Rather, it is redirecting me to the OPAC and working in a hyper reference environment. What is the global scenario? Not so good. If I come to the COPAC, it's the National Union Catalog of UK. I have searched here by the term web scale. The moment I see these are the libraries where this book is held, if I click any of this library, say Oxford University Library, the moment I click Oxford University Library, it says circulation data is not available. 80% of these books cannot generate real-time availability of the resources. You go to Trove again. Here I am searching web scale, particularly in books. So these particular books I want to see. Trove is doing one thing perfectly okay. That is the FRBRI's display of the different edition, collocation of different edition under the work facet. So here it rightly says 2 editions are available and these are the 2 editions of the same book. I want to know the whereabouts of this book. So actually it is not giving me the availability information. I need to go by clicking this particular link to the respective OPAC. WorldCat, same is the situation. If I search, it shows me these are the libraries available. If I click this American College of Greece, is actually leading me to the OPAC of that college, not the WorldCat. So every time user is actually searching the real-time availability of a book in a discovery interface, we are referring them to the respective OPAC. They're leaving your discovery interface. Why? Why it is so difficult? Because I said you that there are lot many standards available in the interoperability layer, but not in the, where we actually need. We need a standard to talk from ILS to discovery interface and vice versa. So there is no standard. One particular library system in US is doing this, that is called Ohiolink, you must be knowing. So you see here in the discovery interface, they are rightly actually giving you the whereabout of the book in real time, whether it is available or not. How they are doing it? They are using a standard called software called OPAL, but that is not important. The important thing is that they are supporting another standard layer on the top of OAI-PMH that is called ILS-DI standard. So ILS-DI standard is a standard developed through Berkeley Accord, which is basically aiming to talk from ILS to discovery interface. So that is developed through Berkeley Accord. Most of the big library vendor, including California Digital Library, they developed it. And what it does actually, what is the difference? So OAI-PMH, mostly I said that if it is a NDL or NVLI or any large-scale digital library initiative, we have to depend on harvesting. We need to have a strong second line to harvest. But what OAI-PMH is doing for us, if I call my OAI-PMH here, so it gives me only manifestation level information, no item level information. If I call by mark XML also, that is also much more comprehensive, but only manifestation level information, no item level information. If our ILS is ILS-DI compatible, we can generate 25 extra services under 4 category. We can generate real-time item availability status, including the patron usage information. Say, for example, I am showing you. In the same Koha system, I am now going for the ILS-DI. Now, here ILS-DI, you see I have asked that you retrieve biblio ID 1 and item information 2. So it retrieves ID 1, item ID 1, available in this library. This is ID 1 of the biblio level, manifestation level, but item ID 2, this is also available. So in real time, you can use ILS-DI to give a REST fashion call to generate the real-time information in the OPAC, in the discovery interface. Similarly, you can generate lot many patron usage information. So here, this is our architecture we are using, but the real problem we faced, this one. Say, by default, one particular library may have one ILS-DI driver to interact with the discovery interface. But we are thinking n number of or array of libraries with single ILS driver for each. But then how it can interact with the discovery interface? So we developed a multi-backend driver here. So this multi-backend driver is acting like a proxy driver. So the moment discovery interface queries something to my ILS, so multi-backend driver, depending on the library code, it is actually forwarding to driver 1. If it is for library 2, it is forwarding to driver 2. So in this way, in real time, by using multi-backend server, we are doing this thing. Now let me show you that, say for example, in our NVLI system, if we mechanization of library, so it says you see library automation. If I click library automation, it will retrieve all the book. So this is from library 2, this is from library 5, this is from library 1. And right from here, it can generate the availability status. If I am interested to use this book by using my own credential in the library 2, so this book is available in the library 2. If I click here, it will give me a link, place a hold. Suppose I want to register, place a hold. The moment I click place a hold, in the same discovery interface, you see it is not leaving the discovery interface. I can enter into the system with my credential, login and password with the library 2 system. Now if I enter, then I can place a hold, I can send a command, I can pick up, select a pickup location, I can set a date and submit the request. The moment I submit the request, it will place the hold in the respective library data system, and the moment it is placed successfully, I can check my holds and reservation. So that's my humble submission before you. Thank you very much. I hope I'm in time. No?
Thank you, Partha. It was a very good presentation. I think a lot of questions must be there. But since due to paucity of time, we may take up 1 or 2 questions, if any. Anyone? Yeah.
John Aykroyd, thanks for that, extremely interesting. I'm sort of thinking 2 things. One is that the level of integration between these systems is actually further developed than perhaps you may be imagining. I think in practical sense, many of the universities I've come across, certainly in the UK, the US, are already at that stage of exposing things like availability information and so on through the discovery interface. But what I'm wondering is if we're not going to get to a point where you can't entirely subsume the OPAC into the discovery interface, which I know was kind of one of the goals at one point, that there may still be a continuing role for the OPAC per se. And at this stage, I think probably because just of the way things are, libraries are tending to provide both. And indeed, the notion of the one single search box may in itself be a dated notion. In other words, there may be multiple high-level discovery engines available, which leaves from a user perspective, it becomes an educational function as to which is the best discovery engine to meet their discovery needs. So it's a very complex business. I mean, you've explained one aspect of that extremely well, but I think it's difficult to see how it's going to pan out.
Yes,
yes,
I completely agreed with you. That's why in the first session, my question was to that my friend from Supplejack, that what is the single point motivation to develop, that system. But later on, I realized possibly they are using a distributed database system, MongoDB at the back end. What most of the library discovery systems are not doing. They are either using MySQL or PostgreSQL. But your question, if I, definitely, lot of questions in, that. What should be the best discovery interface, what should be the best way to do this. But my point here is that we desperately need a standard to talk from ILS to DI. And the difference between the discovery interface and ILS is really blurring nowadays. If you go to that particular project called Folio project, so they are trying to develop a library service platform. There won't be any digital library software or a library automation software or a discovery interface. So instead of that, they are trying to develop a platform which will not include a library OPAC. It will not include any search interface even. They are saying that you use a discovery interface for exposing your data. At the back end, we will give you only the workflow management kind of thing. So possibly we are going towards that LSP kind of thing.
Yeah, one more question. Any question? No. So with this, we conclude the session. Thanks to Dr. Partha. It was a very interesting presentation, and I think many of the things what we are researching together for our projects, and in fact, we are experimenting, and I think the questions that have been put in, it's quite pertinent, because, I mean, we are working on it, and research is all on, in fact. So I think with this, we conclude the session. Memento from. Thank you.
So I'd like to thank Professor Uma Kanjilal for chairing the session, and a small token of appreciation for her as well. So we'll start our formal inauguration session right at 3. So we have some time, so we can have a very small break and come back right at 3.